Hey there, this is Cindy Ray, and today is day 10 of the word of the day from my devotional, Finding Your Creative Bones. Today, we're going to be focused on the word gardener. And what I was thinking was that I might want to put in a brownish background on this, reminiscent of the soil. And one thing that made me start thinking about that is I've been working on these tiles which are part of Tangles Project Pack 28. This is day 1, and I really have been enjoying the browns, the kind of reddish, the sepia, and I just thought, I'll go ahead and use that as my place to start. This is day 2 and day 3. I'm really happy with these, and this is day 4. It's a bigger one. Really, the white, the browns, the red, it's just really outstanding, and they're on a brown tile. You can see this is the back of one of the tiles, and this was day 5. I'm still working on days 6 through 12, but I thought I'd show you these just because they give you some insight as to what I was thinking. The word is gardener. I'd like us to think about the fact that we're part of God's garden. And the garden being all of the earth, that he brought us all into being and planted us, so to speak, placed us on the earth and gives us an opportunity to grow into whatever it is we try to become. And he encourages us. And I'm just going to do this roughly. I picked a rough brush so that I could just model the background. I'm using acrylic ink. And it's a Daler Rowney, and it is Antelope Brown. I'm just barely gonna. There we go. Oh. Anyway, talking about God giving us an opportunity to grow into whatever it is we want to seize and as our opportunities and grow into them as we can. But we're also gardeners for God on this earth. And that's a lot of what today is about. We're supposed to be growing other Christians and, of course, taking care of our earth and growing our families. There's a lot that you can equate to if you think about gardener in relationship to human beings. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Probably looks a little rough or rugged, but I don't want it to get too wet because I'd like to move on and start working with it. And also, I just like the idea of having just a messy background for this one. We are part of God's garden, and yet we have the responsibility to make the garden and to grow others as part of that process, if we choose to accept it, that responsibility. Okay, I'm going to just rough in gardener, and then I'm going to come back and work on it some more. Okay. What does being a gardener mean to you? And do you ever think about it in association with people rather than just plants? I don't know that we commonly think that way, but like the idea of us being gardeners of not only the plants that we love and try to nurture, but also of our world in general, as well as the people in our lives and the people we never meet. I have to believe that and hope that even like having this conversation helps me become a gardener of believers in some fashion, that maybe someday somebody will have some realizations about their faith that help them or change their lives, make them feel closer to God and to Jesus and pull him in a stronger way into their life. That's what I hope for with the devotional. I truly believe that the Holy Spirit spoke to me throughout the whole experience of creating my devotional. And I also believe that he would not have spoke to me if he had not been giving me words that he knew someone needed to read or hear. And that was exactly my prayer to the Holy Spirit every day when I started the writing was help me write the words that someone who's going to read them needs to see so that they can experience you in a more complete and fuller way than perhaps they did before. Speak to their heart through these words. And I've had enough feedback from people about the prayers and different parts of the devotional that make me think that God truly is speaking to them through the words, and I'm grateful for that. There were three things I did when three things at least, when I started to write every day. I asked first that God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and all the saints help me understand the words that I was reading in the Bible that day from the perspective that they knew them, so that I would not only understand from Jesus's perspective, although that's critical, obviously, but also gain some insight into perhaps the words that the Lord had put in their mind as they were reading those words. I wanted to grow from that experience too. So I asked for that. And I asked God to help me write the words that He wanted recorded. And I asked the Holy Spirit to help me write the words that would speak to the reader's heart and speak to their mind in such a way that it would pull them closer to Him and to Jesus so that they could actually grow in their faith through the words. And I truly believe that's what happened. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of tangling that's botanical in nature. I'm going to add the tangle vertigo, which happens to be one of my favorites. It looks a lot like rosemary. And I like the fact that you go over and under. It's tangled up, not just a straight linear tangle. And sometimes I'll add some little berries to it. Plants, they grow in their own way based on the light and what exposure to food and everything that they get while they're growing. They're not so different than us. We grow through the experiences that we have, and we grow in different ways. No two people are the same, no two plants are exactly the same. Those little stalks perhaps reaching for the sun. Fun to draw because of the fact that you can make it do whatever it is you want it to do. I like the brown background. It's brownish green in some ways, not quite olive, but sepia tone, but not completely. Our gardens have to be firmly rooted. Yeah, the gardens we grow with other people. I want to add some orbs. Now what I'll do, let's see, just a little bit of shadowing. Shadowing on the ones that go over, underneath the ones that go over. That's why I keep flipping it one way or the other, just trying to see which way it is. I'm going to add just a little bit of my pencil into the orbs. This is a pastel chalk sanguine color. I'm just adding a little bit in to each of the little circles just to give them a little bit of that color. Again, pulling in some of the color from the other tiles that I had shown y'all as my examples. Okay. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of a white into them. So there's a little bit of the red left, but there's also still just a little hint of white and the little berries. All right. Let's go ahead and do just a little bit more of the red at the bottom, sanguine. And maybe add just a little bit of the highlight of the white. It's a simple Pringle tile, but I think it's, and it definitely reminds me of, has a little hint of this. It doesn't obviously have the same color brown background by any means, but using the antelope brown on it brought a little bit of that tone to it. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed today, and I hope that you take a few minutes to think about what kind of gardener you are in life. I hope you have a beautiful day. God bless you. Take care. See you soon.